Espiritu Santo. Amen. Amang mahabagin, tanging bukal ng buhay at pag-asa, kami ay naninikluhod at nagsusumamo sa iyo upang hilingin ang iyong paglingap laban sa karamdamang nagpapahirap sa marami at kumitil na ng maraming buhay. Dinggin mo po kami ng may pagmamahal. Ipag-adyam po sa amin ang iyong mapaghilom na mga kamay upang kami ay maibsan mula sa pangamba ng kamatayan at karamdaman. Bigyang lakas kami ng pag-asa at pananalig sa iyo. Naway iyong alalayan ang mga nasa medisina at tumutuklas ng lunas sa karamdamang ito. Bigyan niyo sila ng katatagan at kadalisayan ng kaisipan upang maging wasto ang kanilang paglikha ng mga lunas. Sa mga lumilingap at mga nag-aalaga sa mga dinapuan ng karamdaman, naway manatili silang malusog at masigla ang pangangatawan upang sila'y maglingkod ng ibayo at ng may pagmamahal. Panginoon, nawa ang mga nasa banig ng karamdaman, nawa sila'y manatiling nananalig at umaasa ng lunas mula sa iyo. At sa mga pumanaw, naway kanilang kamtin ang buhay na walang hanggan. Pagkalooban mo po kami ng biyaya at pagkakawang gawa at pagtutulong-tulong upang ang nararanasan naming ito ay magbigay sa amin sa pagbukal ng kagandahang loob para maglingkod at ang may pagpapakabanal. Hinihiling namin ito sa pamamagitan ni Jesucristo na nabubuhay at naghahari, kasama mo at ng Espiritu Santo magpa sa walang hanggan. Amen. Sa ngalan ng Ama at ng Anak at ng Espiritu Santo. Amen.
Is always at your service. Kaya naman, ang feedback mo, suggestions nyo ay mahalaga sa amin to improve our programs on air and online. Para alam ni teacher yung strengths as well as the things in your mind na mas makatutulong sa mas effective na pagkatuto sa teleradyo. Please take time to send your feedbacks via Teleradyo Mu, which you can access by scanning the QR code on the right or typing the URL provided here, bit.ly/3ORVAY9. One more, this time you follow bit.ly/3ORVAY9. Kaya send your hashtag TBH o hashtag RT dito sa Teleradyo Mu, kung saan ang feedback mo, suggestions nyo ay mahalaga sa teleradyo. bit.ly/ORVAY9.
manood na sa teleradyo. Makinig, manood na sa teleradyo. Teleradyo, teleradyo Marcelo. Sa gitna ng mapanubok na panahon, magkahatid sa kakibat ay diskusyon. Sama-sama tayo, kahit magkalayo. Sa programang ito, tiyak ang pagkatuto. Teleradyo.
Hello everyone. A pleasant day, Del Pilarians, especially grade 7 learners. Welcome to another episode of Teleradyo Marcelo, ang telearalan ng bawat Malolenyo. I am Cherilyn C. Hernandez, teacher broadcaster for this week's lesson. Follow and like Facebook page, subscribe and like YouTube channel, Teleradyo Marcelo, ang telearalan ng bawat Malolenyo. Let us have a quick recap. In the previous lesson, you learned how to gather statistical data. Let us identify what method of statistical data gathering is used in the following statements. Write your answer in the comment panel. Number 1, a group of students gathered some data from the PSA. If your answer is registration, that's correct. Number 2, a group of researchers wants to study the life and culture of the Aitas in Pampanga. If your answer is observation, correct. Number 3, choosing people at random in the supermarket and asking them about the brand of soap they prefer to use. If your answer is interview, that's correct. Number 4, a random selection of people will be asked to determine if television shows are too violent. If your answer is questionnaire, correct. Number 5, a researcher needs to understand if a new type of antidepressant medication works when compared to people not taking it. Answer, experiment. Those are the methods of data collection. For most essential learning competency, the learner organizes data in a frequency distribution table. Information from the collected data should be organized and analyzed systematically for easier interpretation. Given sample of 30 grade 7 students were asked on their favorite fruit, the responses are as follows. It is difficult to understand the information from the data because it is not organized. One way of organizing data in the most systematic and organized manner is using a table. The data collected in a survey can be presented using a frequency distribution table. Our topic is about organizing data using frequency distribution table. Let us first define frequency. Frequency tells you the number of times the observation appears in the data. What is frequency distribution table? Frequency distribution table is a table that lists numerical data that have been grouped in intervals and the frequency of occurrence of the data. How to construct a frequency distribution table? So here's how. Given sample of 30 grade 7 students were asked on their favorite fruit. Make a simple frequency table use the following steps. Step 1, construct a table with 3 columns. Label each column accordingly. Title of categories, so fruit, then tally and frequency. Step 2, write the categories or the names of fruits in the first column. So we have banana, apple, pineapple, and papaya. Step 3, tally the number of occurrences of the fruit. Step 4, count the tally marks and write the frequency in the third column. So we have 10 bananas, 8 apples, 7 pineapples, and 5 papayas. Step 5, finalize the table. Make sure to write the title. So the title is Frequency Distribution of Favorite Fruits. This frequency table is specifically called an ungrouped frequency distribution table. This is commonly used for qualitative types of data. Let us consider the group frequency distribution table. Group frequency distribution table takes into consideration groups of data in the form of class intervals. It is used for quantitative types of data. Class intervals are generally equal in width and are non-overlapping from each other. Given the data, a 50-item test in a mathematics is given to 50 grade 7 students. The scores are as follows. So make a frequency distribution table. Use the following steps to construct a frequency table. Step 1, choose the number of classes of the distribution. In the given set of scores, use 5 as the number of class intervals. So, class interval is equal to 5. Note that the ideal number of class interval is 5 to 20. Step 2, get the range or the difference between the highest and the lowest values. So we have 50 and 25. So range is equal to highest score minus lowest score equals 50 minus 25. The answer is 25. Step 3, solve the class width or class size by dividing the range by the number of intervals. So class size is equal to range divided by class interval. Equals 25 divided by 5 is 5. Step 4, identify the starting point or the first lower class limit. If the class size is even, use the lowest score as the starting point. If the class size is odd, use the multiple of the class size, which is less than or equal to the lowest score, as the starting point. Since the class size 5 is odd, then we will use 25, which is the multiple of 5, and is equal to the lowest score. So the lower class limits are 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. Step 5. Determine the upper class limit of all the intervals by subtracting 1 from the lower limit of the next interval. For example, the lower limit of the second interval is 30. Then 30 minus 1 is 29. Therefore, the upper class limit of the first interval is 29. So the upper class limits are 29, 34, 39, 44, 49, and 54. Hence, the class intervals are 25 to 29, 30 to 34, 35 to 39, 40 to 44, 45 to 49, and 50 to 54. Step 6. Tally the data and write the frequency column of the data belonging to each class interval. For example, the first interval is 25 to 29. So add all the frequencies from 25 up to 29. So we have 7. For 30 to 34, 15. For 35 to 39, 14. For 40 to 44, 3. For 45 to 49, 9. And for 50 to 54, 2. Okay, next. Step 7. Make additional columns to obtain other information, like class boundaries, the true limits of the class interval, class marks, X, the midpoint value of a class interval, relative frequency, RF, relative percentage, cumulative frequency, CF. This is the accumulated frequency of a class. So we have less than CF and greater than CF. Okay. For class boundaries, subtract the upper class limit of the first class interval, which is 29, from the lower class limit of the second interval, which is 30. Then divide the result by 2. So 30 minus 29 divided by 2 is 1 over 2 is equal to 0.5. To obtain the lower class boundaries, subtract 0.5 from the lower class limits of the class interval. For example, 25 minus 0.5 is equal to 24.5. Thus, the lower boundaries are 24.5, 29.5, 34.5, 39.5, 44.5, and 49.5. To obtain the upper class boundaries, add 0.5 from the upper class limits of the class intervals. For example, 29 plus 0.5 is 29.5. So the upper boundaries are 29.5, 34.5, 39.5, 44.5, 49.5, and 54.5. Okay. For class mark X, the average of the lower class and upper class limits of a given class interval. So X equals lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. For the first class interval, so we have 25 plus 29 divided by 2 is equal to 54 divided by 2. The answer is 27. Do the same for other class intervals. So the class marks are 27, 32, 37, 42, 47, and 52. Or you may obtain the succeeding class marks by adding the class size to the preceding class mark. For relative frequency, RF, it is obtained when the frequencies in each class is divided by the total frequency. RF is equal to F divided by N, where F is equal to frequency of the class interval and N is equal to total frequency. For the first class interval frequency, so we have 7 and the total frequency is 50. So 7 divided by 50 is equal to 0.14. Do the same for other class intervals. Thus, the relative frequencies are 0.14. Then 15 divided by 50 is 0.30. 14 divided by 50 is 0.28. 3 divided by 50 is 0.06. 9 divided by 50 is 0.18. And 2 divided by 50 is 0.04. For a total of 1. Next, for relative percentage, it is obtained by multiplying the relative frequency by 100%. So, 0.14 times 100% is 14%. 0.30 times 100% is 30%. 0.28 times 100% is 28%. 0.06 times 100% is 6%. 0.18 times 100% is 18%. And 0.04 times 100% is 4%. For a total of 100%. Okay, next. For less than cumulative frequency, just add all the frequencies from the first class interval up to the last class interval. So the frequency of the first class interval is 7. Then let us add 7 plus 15 is 22. 7 plus 15 plus 14 is 36. 7 plus 15 plus 14 plus 3 is 39. 7 plus 15 plus 14 plus 3 plus 9 is 48. 7 plus 15 plus 14 plus 3 plus 9 plus 2 is 50. Or you may add the succeeding frequency to the sum of the preceding frequencies. Next, for greater than cumulative frequency, just add all the frequencies starting from the last class interval up to the first class interval. The frequency of the last class interval is 2. Then let us add 2 plus 9 equals 11. So you may add the succeeding frequency to the sum of the preceding frequencies. So 11 plus 3 is 14. 14 plus 14 is 28. 28 plus 15 is 43. And 43 plus 7 is 50. So here is the complete frequency distribution of the test scores of 50 grade 7 students. Okay, so let's have another example. Given the following data, construct a frequency distribution table with 5 class intervals. The data given are the mathematics grades of 30 grade 7 students in the last quarter. Okay. So in this example, the class interval given is 5. Next, compute the range. So range is equal to highest score minus lowest score. So we have 98 and 75. So 98 minus 75 is 23. Then compute the class size. Equals range divided by class interval. So we have 23 divided by 5 is 4.6. Thus, the class size is 5. For lower class limits, since class size 5 is odd, then we will use 75, which is equal to the lowest score. So the lower class limits are 75, 80, 85, 90, and 95. For upper class limits, subtract 1 from the lower limit of the next interval. So 80 minus 1 is 79. Therefore, the upper class limit of the first interval is 79. So the upper class limits are 79, 84, 89, 94, and 99. Tally the data and write the frequency belonging to each class interval. For 75 to 79, so we have 6. For 80 to 84, 6. For 85 to 89, 7. For 90 to 94, 5. For 95 to 99, 6. For a total of 30. For class mark, so equals lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. For the first class interval, we have 75 plus 79 divided by 2 is 154 divided by 2 is equal to 77. Do the same for other class intervals. So the class marks are 77, 82, 87, 92, and 97. Or you may obtain the succeeding class marks by adding the class size to the preceding class mark. Next, for relative frequency, F divided by N. So the frequency of the first class interval is 6 and the total is 30. So 6 divided by 30 is 0.20. So do the same for other class intervals. So the relative frequencies are 0.20. So 6 divided by 30 is 0.20. 7 divided by 30 is 0.23. 5 divided by 30 is 0.17. And 6 divided by 30 is 0.20. For a total of 1. For less than CF, add all the frequencies starting with the least class interval having frequency of 6. Then add the succeeding frequency. So 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 7 is 19. 19 plus 5 is 24. And 24 plus 6 is 30. Okay? So, to check your understanding, let us answer this activity. Given the frequency distribution table with n is equal to 60, complete the table. So what is the class mark for the class interval of 14 to 19? Okay, the answer is 16.5. How about for 20 to 25? Okay, so the answer is 22.5. For 26 to 31, okay, so the answer is 28.5. For 32 to 37, okay, so we have 34.5. For 38 to 43, okay, so the answer is 40.5. And for 44 to 49, okay, so the answer is 46.5. What is the relative frequency for the class interval of 14 to 19? Okay, so the answer is 0.15. How about 20 to 25? Answer, 0.30. For 26 to 31, Okay, answer 0.23. For 32 to 37. Okay, so the answer is 0.08. For 38 to 43. Okay, so the answer is 0.17. And for 44 to 49. Okay, so the answer is 0.07. So for a total of 1. Okay, now let us fill in the column for less than cumulative frequency. We will start from the least interval, which is 14 to 19, having a frequency of 9. Then, what is the next value for the class interval 20 to 25? Okay, so the answer is 27. How about for 26 to 31? Okay, so the answer is 41. For 32 to 37. Answer, 46. For 38 to 43. Okay, so the answer is 56. And for 44 to 49. Okay, so the answer is 60. Good job, Del Pilarians. This is the end of the lesson. Okay, many thanks to our principal, Dr. Maria Victoria C. Vivo, Principal 4, to the technical working group of the Teleradio Marcelo, to our mathematics department head, Dr. Mark Coronel M. Eusebio, head teacher 6, master teacher 1, Jocelyn E. Hernandez, and Imelda B. Magpayo, master teacher 1, for the quality assurance of this lesson. Grade 7 mathematics teachers, to all grade 7 learners and parents for your support and cooperation in our lesson in Mathematics 7. Don't forget to like and watch the video uploaded in YouTube channel of Teleradio Marcelo. Enjoy the rest of the week. God bless us all. This is Cherilyn C. Hernandez, grade 7 mathematics teacher, now signing off.
Teleradio is always at your service. Kaya naman, ang feedback mo, suggestions nyo ay mahalaga sa amin to improve our programs on air and online. Para alam ni teacher yung strengths as well as the things in your mind na mas makatutulong sa mas effective na pagkatuto sa Teleradio. Please take time to send your feedbacks via Teleradio Mu, which you can access by scanning the QR code on the right or typing the URL provided here, bit.ly/3ORVAY9. One more, this time you follow. bit.ly/3ORVAY9. Kaya send your hashtag TBH o hashtag RT dito sa Teleradio Mu, kung saan ang feedback mo, suggestions nyo ay mahalaga sa Teleradio. bit.ly/3ORVAY9.
Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Teleradyo, teleradyo Marcelo. Sa gitna ng mapanubok na panahon, magkahatid sa kakibat ay diskusyon. Sama-sama tayo, kahit magkalayo.